Do you feel like the only way to lose fat and build muscle is by tracking every calorie, every macro, and every bite of food you eat, logging meals, weighing food, scanning barcodes, and if you stop tracking, you're afraid everything will fall apart? But what if I told you body recomposition, meaning losing fat and building muscle at the same time, is absolutely possible without tracking calories or macros? In fact, for some people, it can actually work better. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to achieve a body recomposition without tracking, or at least decide if this route is right for you. Let's get into it, but of course, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss when I release a new video just like this one. Before we talk about how to do it without tracking, let's quickly clarify what body recomposition actually means. Body recomposition simply means losing body fat while gaining or maintaining muscle mass. So instead of focusing solely on the number on the scale, the goal becomes improving your body composition to achieve leaner, stronger, and change the shape of your body. And the result is usually a physique that looks leaner, stronger, and more toned. This approach is very different than traditional dieting, where the goal is simply to lose weight, meaning seeing a lower number on the scale. With recomposition, the scale might move slowly or sometimes barely at all, because you're losing fat while building or maintaining muscle at the same time. Now, here's the big question. Do you need to track calories and track macros to achieve this body recomposition? The honest answer is no. Tracking calories is simply a tool to manage energy intake, but it's not the only tool. And for many women, especially those who have spent years and years in diet culture, tracking can become mentally exhausting, very obsessive, and very hard to sustain long term. And when something isn't sustainable, results aren't sustainable either. I have worked with many women who find tracking every single thing they eat and calculating macros and obsessing over all these numbers on a day-to-day basis really start to trigger them, and they feel that they become more obsessive over food than they were prior to tracking. So in these instances, instead of tracking calories, we want to focus on the behaviors that naturally regulate calorie intake. Because when you build the right habits, especially when you're just starting out on your journey, your body composition will improve without you needing to count every single thing. This is especially true if you're just starting your body recomposition journey, and mastering the 5 principles of body recomposition without tracking can really make a huge impact on your body composition without even having to start tracking. Deciding if tracking calories is right for you or not is a personal decision, and I will explain how to decide if that is right for you right after I give you these 5 principles of body recomposition. If this idea of building muscle and losing fat without tracking obsessively sounds appealing, this is exactly what we focus on inside my LiftU community. Because the truth is, not everybody is ready to track every single bite of food. And honestly, you don't need to start seeing progress. Inside LiftU, my group coaching community, I teach my LIFT method, which focus on the foundational habits that actually drive body recomposition. Things like prioritizing protein, strength training regularly, improving daily movement, creating balanced meals, and more importantly, continuing to show up for you. So instead of chasing perfection, we focus on consistency and sustainable habits that help you lose fat, build muscle, and feel stronger long term. So if you want coaching from me, workouts, nutrition coaching, and support from women all over the world working towards the same goals, you can check out the LiftU community in the description below. The commitment is only $27 a month, and you can cancel anytime. What have you got to lose? Principle number 1. Prioritize protein with every meal. If there is one single nutrition strategy that will drive a body recomposition, it is this one. Protein helps with muscle growth, muscle preservation, feeling full for a longer period of time, helps boost your metabolism, has a higher thermic effect of food, meaning your body burns more calories digesting protein than it does any other macronutrient. So if you don't feel comfortable tracking every single thing you put in your mouth, I recommend just using a simple portion guide. And that's basically using a palm-sized portion of protein at every single meal. Things like eggs, chicken, Greek yogurt, fish, lean beef, tofu. And oftentimes following that simple principle of prioritizing protein with every single meal and snack can get you to around 100 to 140 grams of protein without even thinking about it. When I am deciding what I'm going to have for lunch, if I don't have anything planned, the first thing I think about is what am I gonna have for protein, and then I build my meal around that. And again, you don't have to be perfect. prioritizing that protein, learning your portion sizes. These are the habits that can stick for life. And this again is what makes body recomposition achievable, but more importantly, sustainable long-term. Principle number 2, building a balanced plate. Adding on to what I just spoke about, instead of calorie counting, focus on building balanced meals made of mainly whole foods. It's a very simple structure. Half your plate is vegetables, a quarter of your plate is protein, a quarter of your plate is carbohydrate, plus throw in some healthy fats. And this simple approach when creating meals will naturally help control calorie intake while still fueling your workouts and muscle growth and recovery. Because one of the biggest mistakes I see women make when they're trying to achieve a body recomposition is under eating. Your body needs enough fuel to build muscle. And when you're prioritizing whole foods, these are naturally foods that are lower in calories than pre-packaged foods that you pop in the microwave and warm up, or protein bars, and foods with 30 ingredients on their ingredient list. This will not only help you feel better, have better gut health because you're prioritizing these whole foods that are loaded with macro and micronutrients, but it will also help you feel more full and naturally keep your calorie intake down because you are prioritizing whole foods and portion control. Principle number 3, strength training is non-negotiable. Now, of course, if you want to build muscle while you're losing fat, strength training is a must in some way, shape, or form. Cardio alone will not create a body recomposition. I like to tell people bare minimum strength training 2 times a week, up to 4 times a week if you can. And you should be focusing your workouts on compound exercises such as squats, deadlifts, rows, presses, pulls. These exercises stimulate the most muscle growth and help create the metabolic demand needed for a body recomposition. You want to continue applying progressive overload and challenging your muscles by increasing your weights, increasing your reps, and improving your form over time. Week after week, month after month. And this signals your body to build muscle or at least maintain the muscle mass you have while you're losing fat. Principle number 4, increase your daily movement. Another incredible tool for improving body composition without tracking calories is NEAT. That is our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and what I like to call the secret weapon and often very much overlooked tool for fat loss. This is all the things you do for movement outside of your structured workouts. Things like walking, household chores, standing, taking the stairs, playing with your kids. These small movements throughout the day can burn hundreds more calories without formal exercise. If you're someone who is tracking your steps, even goaling for a simple 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day is a great way to focus on increasing your daily movement. And it can really go a long way when trying to achieve a body recomposition. And last principle, number 5, is eat slowly and stop when you are 80% full. One of the biggest benefits of calorie tracking is just awareness of what you're putting in your body. It makes you stop, think twice about what you're eating, how many calories are in this meal, how much protein, and you think a little bit more about the portion size of your meals. But you can also create that same awareness by simply practicing mindful eating. Slow down your meals, put your fork down between bites, check in with your hunger levels, don't be mindlessly scrolling on your phone or watching TV while you're eating, drink water with your meals, and aim to stop eating when you're about 80% full. This gives your body time to recognize the fullness and prevent overeating. And another part of this that I will add on that I use is think about how you feel after you eat a meal. So especially if you're starting to try out new portion sizes and you're trying out new foods and new combinations of foods, pay attention to how you feel after you eat that meal. Do you feel bloated? Did you all of a sudden feel like you needed to take a nap? Did you feel really energized and light and good? Paying attention to these cues that your body is giving you will help you decide if that portion size was right for you, if that combination of foods was right for you, and if you overate. Because again, we are always a work in progress. You don't have to be perfect. Progress, not perfection, especially when you are just learning these simple habits and trying to truly make this a lifestyle. Paying attention to how you're feeling when you're eating certain foods really is important. Now let's quickly talk about, after you have all this information, if tracking calories and macros is right for you. I'm gonna start this by saying tracking calories and macros is a great tool. And I feel everyone should do some form of that, at least at the beginning of their journey. And when I say some form of that, what I mean is that it doesn't have to be weighing every single thing you eat, tracking every single thing perfectly into an app and obsessing about that. I think tracking can also be opening up a notebook, old school, pulling a piece of printer paper, writing in the notebook of your phone, literally just being aware of what you're eating. Breakfast, this is what I ate. Snack, this is what I ate. Lunch, this is what I ate. Snack, this is what I ate. Dinner, this is what I ate. After dinner snack, this is what I ate. To become more aware, because I feel like awareness is the most important. So if you're at the beginning of your journey and people have been telling you have to track every single thing you eat or you will not lose weight, you don't necessarily have to track perfectly. It can be very, very intimidating and also add a whole other layer where you become obsessed about all these things you're tracking and getting those calorie numbers and macro numbers perfect in your app, versus even thinking about the things I listed. Did I prioritize protein at every meal? How much did I move today? Did I get my strength training workout in? And how did I feel? Did I eat slowly? And how did I feel after each and every meal? You forget to think about these most important habits and you just focus on just those numbers. And especially if you're starting out, it can be hard to figure out meal and portion sizes to hit numbers perfectly. But I will say, if you're starting your journey, you should track in some way, shape, or form. And that is just for self-awareness, because oftentimes when you're sneaking some of your kids' goldfish crackers here and there, a bite of a grilled cheese sandwich, once you start writing all this down, you kind of become like, whoa, okay, maybe this is why I'm not seeing any progress in my journey, is because look how many times I'm eating throughout the day, and I don't seem like I'm eating enough protein because there was no protein in that meal. And then as you're continuing to do that, even committing to it for a week, seeing where you can make improvements, then going back about your journey, making those small improvements, a week later, write everything down again and keep doing it that way. It really depends where you are on your journey, your mindset towards food, your mindset towards your own body. The reason I wanted to make this video, and some people might comment and be like, there is no possible way you can achieve a body recomposition and get jacked and lean and shredded without tracking everything you eat. Technically, they could be right, but if you are at the beginning of your journey, you don't have to be tracking everything, because even making these small little changes I talked about in this video are gonna go a huge way. If you are down to the last 5 or 10 pounds and maybe you're like, I just have a little bit more here and I've got the muscle, I just kind of want to see a little bit more definition. Yes, when you are at this point of your journey where you've mastered all these habits and you're walking every day and you're hitting your workouts and you're prioritizing the protein and you're doing all these things naturally and sustainably without even thinking twice about it, that's when you might be ready to start tracking and really knowing how many calories am I taking in. I need to be weighing my chicken and I need to be weighing all my food to get an exact number to really get to that next level of leanness. To answer the question of this video, is body recomposition possible without tracking? Yes, 100% it is. It is different for every single person. And one thing I tell people is you have to think long term. The goal should be that you don't have to track for the rest of your life. You want to track long enough to use it as an educational tool for long-term sustainable habits. You want to get to the point where you don't have to track every single thing. And if you find your weight creeping up, or you find you're like, oh, things are not feeling the same they were, you go back to tracking, dial everything in, do it for a little while, get feeling good again, assess where you're at with what you're eating, and you move on again. That's the one thing I really want to drill home in this video is, yes, you can achieve a body recomposition without tracking if you're starting your journey and you're mastering these simple habits. Because if you don't have these habits mastered, tracking every single thing you eat is going to be mentally exhausting for you. It's really not going to make it that long-term sustainable thing. Whereas if you start slow and start by mastering these habits, day after day, week after week, month after month, you can see huge changes in your body composition. And then, like I say, if you get to the point where you're near the home stretch and you just have a few last pounds to lose and you really want to get to that next level of muscle definition, that's when you can start tracking. If you're someone who, I have a lot of clients like this as well, they really want to know how much they're eating and they've really made tracking a lifestyle and they like knowing what's in their food and they like weighing everything and they think it's an educational tool and they enjoy doing that, that is also okay. I think this really comes down to an individual decision and nothing is set in stone. Final advice, if you've been stuck in the cycle of tracking calories, getting burnt out, stop tracking calories, regain the weight back, it might be time to shift your focus. Instead of obsessing over numbers, start building these habits that drive body recomposition naturally and give your body time to adapt, because sustainable results come from sustainable habits. There you go, guys. If you found this video helpful, make sure you give it a like, leave any questions in the video comments below. If you need help with building these sustainable, healthy habits for body recomposition, I'll leave a link in the video description to my online group coaching community, where I'm in there daily answering questions, motivating you. Once a week, you will get a live Q&A session on video with me to ask your questions. If you want to know more about my community, LiftU, or about my personalized one-on-one online fitness and nutrition coaching program, I will leave information to both those programs in the video description below. Have a great day, guys, and I will see you in the next one.